Hello, I'm Joyce Foreman, and I'm here for the Ester Show. And what we're doing today is actually welcoming Gail White because of the exhibit, the Monticello, that's going to be at the African American Museum. I am a Dallas ISD trustee, and this happens to be my trustee district in Southwest Oak Cliff. And I think it's really exciting to have such an exhibit to come to Dallas, knowing that our children need to understand their history. It's extremely important that these kids have access, and this is a great opportunity to give them that access that we talk about. We talk often about know your history, because if you don't, you're destined to repeat it. This is a great opportunity for our children to actually know their history. I'm really thankful that Gail White has decided that this exhibit should be in Dallas. I believe it's going to be the first showing. And so we, as Dallas and Dallas Independent School District, are excited that she's going to be here. And thank you to the Ester Davis Show.
On behalf of the Texas section of the National Council of Negro Women, our state convener, Dorothy Chimney, and Dr. Molly Johnson Williams, our Northeast Texas coordinator, and my mother, Dorothy Starks. She was our past president of our section of the T. Mathis Hawkins section. We like to present you these flowers, and I love gifts for you coming to visit our town, and we're looking forward to you in September.
Oh, thank you so much. These are beautiful. Look at those beautiful flowers. So thoughtful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes.
This is Esther Davis again with the Esther Davis Show. And Dallas has a first. You know, Dallas is so full of firsts. And I still call Dallas the very center of the universe. But I wanted the councilman that's responsible for this groundbreaking exhibit that's coming to Dallas in September to have a word with you. And he is none other than Dallas City Councilman Kevin Felton. Sir, thank you so much.
Thank you, Esther. Thank you for the opportunity to share with your audience Thomas Jefferson's Slavery at Monticello, Paradox of Liberty. This exhibition, it started over 2 years ago when I met Gail Jessup White while on a convention in Cincinnati, Ohio.
Oh, wow.
And it was a cab ride, a simple cab ride. We were both standing outside waiting for a cab, and obviously the cab picked her up before they picked me up. She was so gracious. She offered me to ride in her cab with her to the hotel, and she paid for it. So I graciously accepted that. Anyway,
Graciously accepted that.
Graciously. So to make a long story short, we continued on. We had dinner that night, and we talked about the Monticello exhibition. And I posed the question to her, would you be interested in bringing that to Dallas? And she said yes. I picked up the phone and I called Dr. Harry Robinson, and he screamed in my ear, he said yes. And so I said, let me let you speak to her. I let him speak to her. And so that is the beginning of this project. Moving forward, we're now here for the press conference to let the public know about this exhibition. And I'm so excited. Gail is excited, and we're trying to build the excitement for the community. This is very important for the city of Dallas. This is very important for America, to tell the story from the perspective of the slave. Sally Hemings was a human being. Sally Hemings was an African American, and she was in a relationship with the President of the United States. And so Gail happens to be a descendant of that relationship. And so there's more to the story, but you need to come to the exhibition to get the rest of it.
And the exhibition starts September 22nd, right here in Dallas, at the African American Museum. And you can go online with the Esther Davis Show, go online, share the information of the video, because this is for all America to come in and see. Thank you so much for your time. Great job. We really appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Have a good day.
Top of the day to you. This is Esther Davis. You know what? Today we're sort of roaming around the city. We're at Dallas Executive Airport. And I just finished an article a couple of weeks ago on, since it was Father's Day, it was about my dad, and the fact that everybody by now knows I'm from Conroe, Texas. But Conroe has another history-making person, other than the generation from my dad's era. There's a lady that was born in Conroe, Texas. Her mother was my English teacher. Her name is Annette Gordon Reed. Many, many years ago, Annette wrote a story about the Thomas Jefferson plantation. And the city of Conroe just went absolutely wild. Now, I need to tell you also that in Conroe, Texas, from the turn of the century, since the Civil War, there were 2 black colleges. One was Conroe College, and the second one was Royal College. And these colleges, of course, did what all of the other 400 colleges did after the Civil War. They installed them, they raised money for them, they educated their children. In Conroe, Texas, since I grew up in a college town, and the story about my dad, you will see that my dad owned trucks. And in that part of the country, we had what we call Texas timber. Texas timber was just plentiful. But also, my dad with his business also had lots of labor to haul the wood and clear the areas of that day. I'm talking 30s, the 40s, and the 50s. But Annette Gordon Reed, her mother was my English teacher, Mrs. Gordon. Mrs. Gordon and my 88-year-old aunt were best friends. My aunt is 88 now. So when I told her what I was doing today, she said, well, you gotta mention Conroe, Texas. I always mention Conroe, Texas. This is a special delight for me because we have coming to Dallas one of the things that I tell you about all of the time on my shows, which is Dallas is the center of the universe. So we do all of the things grander and better and much more profound than any other American city. My very special guest, Gail Jessup White.
Yes.
Thank you so much. You gotta shake my hand.
It's my pleasure.
It really, it's a delight to have you here. You have no idea what a buzz you have been.
I'm glad. I like the story you just told about your hometown.
Yes.
About Annette Gordon Reed, who's one of my heroes.
Really?
Absolutely.
Yes.
She's written remarkable stories about Thomas Jefferson and Sally Hemings, and about my family, because I'm the Hemings.
Right.
She wrote a Pulitzer Prize-winning book
Yes, she
called
did.
The Hemings is of Monticello. And I'm really pleased to say that Annette is a friend and someone I truly, truly admire. I just saw her a few days ago.
Really?
at
I called her this
Monticello.
morning.
Did you?
Yes, I called.
At Monticello. She was there as one of, on a panel that we had as part of an opening exhibition we had at Monticello, the weekend of June 16th, in collaboration, I guess you could say, with the June 16th celebration that you experienced, and justifiably so, down here in Texas, because June 16th really is about what happened here in Texas when the enslaved people here finally learned they were free. And that opening, that event was in honor of the opening of a new exhibition there at Monticello, one of many, called The Life of Sally Hemings.
That's right.
And so it was a wonderful opportunity for us to talk about one of the most famous women in American history, wasn't she?
Yes.
And
Sally Hemings was one of the most famous, not African-American, American women in history.
Exactly.
And the fact that you're here as one of her descendants verifies a lot, it verifies a lot of the information that we all have about our families.
Right.
But your family stayed the course, and you're here, 2018.
Well, here's the thing about African American families in the United States of America. Yes, we stayed the course. Yes, we stayed strong. Yes, we did what we had to do to survive in a system that tried to take and did take everything they could from us. Our children, speaking of children being separated from their parents, our dignity, our potential wealth because we worked for free, and our very lives.
Yes.
They took our, so those of us who are living in America today are strong people because our ancestors were strong people. Now, having said that, we were also separated. I lost a lot of my family.
Absolutely.
I lost a lot of my family to slavery. I lost a lot of my family to Jim Crow. I lost a lot of my family to racism. But the beautiful thing is, also on the weekend of June 16th, my family was brought back together thanks to the hard work that's been going on at Monticello for 25 years with an initiative called the Getting Word Oral History Project.
And you mentioned that yesterday at the press conference.
I did.
Yes.
That project has interviewed literally hundreds of descendants of enslaved families and brought those families back together. So people I've never met, 300 of my cousins,
300 cousins.
of my cousins were there at Monticello on Saturday, celebrating our history, our lineage, celebrating our very American history. And so it's been a remarkable experience, not just the opening of the new exhibitions, but also the families coming together. And
300 members of your family
Yes,
at the reunion.
at the reunion.
On the plantation
on the
grounds.
plantation. And right after that event happened, I flew right here to Dallas so I could talk about, with the Dallas community, an exhibition that's opening here September 22nd. It's called Slavery at Jefferson's Monticello, Paradox of Liberty. It's not the first time the exhibition has been, it's a traveling exhibition.
It's a
not
traveling
the first time that
exhibition.
it's been in the country. It opened in 2012 in Washington, D.C. in partnership with the Smithsonian's Museum of African American History and Culture. I traveled to 3 other cities, Philadelphia, St. Louis, and Atlanta. It closed in 2015. So it is the resurrection of this exhibition.
And you brought it to Dallas for the
It came
first
to
time.
Dallas first. It's the first time it's been this far south or this far west. So it's really exciting. And our partner this time is, of course, the African American Museum of Dallas,
Right.
and made possible by the National Endowment for the Humanities. So it is a time of celebration because when you see this exhibition coming to Dallas, being brought back to life for the first time
Absolutely.
in 4 years, you're also seeing brought back to life Sally Hemings as a fully dimensioned person, not just as an appendage of Thomas Jefferson,
Exactly.
but as a mother, a daughter, a sister, a seamstress, a world traveler.
A world traveler.
Exactly, a negotiator, and as owned property, inherited property. But you see all this as a fully dimensioned person, and not just Sally Hemings, but also other.
The other
descendants of that
thousands
plantation.
of
Well,
people
Thomas
you were
Jefferson
inspiring.
607 people he owned throughout his life, 607. And in this exhibition, you'll hear the story through the lives of the enslaved and their families, not through Thomas Jefferson's eyes, but
Right.
through their lens. And that's what makes this exhibition unique and important.
You know, the other important component about that is that the thousands of families you are inspiring
No, thank
to
you.
move forward.
Yes.
Do not stop and get other family members engaged to do the same thing that you're doing. That's really important. I know in our family we've done spots here and spots there, but with your bringing all of this to full fruition, it says, oh, I can do what they did.
Well, you can, and
Yeah.
it's hard work, and it's taken me 45 years. It's a lot of commitment.
Yeah, I
It's
bet.
not commitment.
How much time have you spent? You're the family spokesman, right?
Well, I mean, I am one family member who's very interested in this history.
Okay.
It's a history I kind of stumbled upon when I was 13 years old, having heard from my oldest sister in a conversation she was having with my dad. They were Jefferson descendants.
Okay.
And so I spent a lifetime trying to put that together, trying to figure out, well, how in fact are we Jefferson descendants? And what is our relationship with the families of Monticello? So it's taken me all these years to put these pieces together. But look what we have as a result. And all of this is happening, this exhibition here in Dallas, the work we're doing at Monticello, at a pivotal time in American history, isn't it? When there's so much divisiveness occurring.
Right.
But this is an opportunity for us to study our history, for us to understand how related we are to each other. Just to give you some perspective here, we know that Thomas Jefferson and Sally Hemings had this connection that produced 6 children.
Right.
For the first time in the foundation's history, Monticello was run by a foundation called the Thomas Jefferson Foundation. We are saying unequivocally that Thomas Jefferson and Sally Hemings had 6 children together.
Right. Right.
But I'm not descended from Sally Hemings and Thomas Jefferson. I'm descended from Thomas Jefferson's great-great-grandson. and from Peter Hemmings, who was one of Sally Hemings's brothers.
Oh.
So what does that tell you? It tells you
Oh.
it was generational, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
And in fact, Sally Hemings was the half-sister of Thomas Jefferson's wife. So that
Is
was
that in one of
another-
the videos someplace?
That was
Because-
another generation, that's right. So Thomas Jefferson's father-in-law
Okay.
was the father of Sally Hemings and his white wife. And Thomas Jefferson's son-in-law, after his wife died, Thomas Jefferson's daughter died, took up with another Hemings family member. So it went
It goes on and
It goes
on and on.
This is our history.
How long? How
We've
long?
been connected since we came here.
Gail, how long? Just the paradigm you just explained to me. How long did that take? Give me a sense in months, years, to make all of the connections of where these children and who they belong to. We didn't have DNA when you did this.
So
So you had to depend on what?
A lot. I depended on frankly my own tenacity, for one thing. And oral history was the other.
Okay.
And the very excellent researchers at Monticello, because Thomas Jefferson took copious notes. There was endless interest in Thomas Jefferson.
Okay.
And so that, I was very lucky in that. But there's still documents that anyone can have access to by going to some of the, there are so many, I used Ancestry DNA, but there are many others.
Exactly.
And you can get,
Exactly.
you can get the first census where black people were counted, where we were not property. The first general census would have been in 1870. So that's one place to begin.
Okay.
You can also find baptismal records. I found a lot from baptismal records. Death certificates carry a lot of information. And so
Death certificates.
Death certificates have a lot of information. If we can, marriage licenses carry a lot of information. I was able to put a lot of pieces together for that. So sure, I'm lucky because Jefferson had all these notes about the people enslaved, but I also found information just digging. I used to be a reporter. So I was just digging and never, ever stopped.
But once you start digging, your mind keeps going.
That's
Like,
right.
If I keep moving, if I find this piece of information and go to the next piece of information, what else am I
Exactly.
going to find?
And it's fun. It's fun. And the internet makes it so much easier now because you can have access to records that you would have had to have written for before, paid for before. So it's so if there's an interest there, it can be done. And the other thing I would like to mention to Esther is that in discovering our history, in finding our roots, we find out about ourselves
You feel better about
and
yourself.
who we are.
Yeah.
You know,
Feel better about
what did it take for our ancestors?
Oh.
You know,
Mhm.
to get us to the place where we are today. Who are those people? How strong were they? And we have their DNA. So what does that say about
They
us?
had to be thinking people.
All the time.
And they had to maneuver and put up
Exactly.
strategies. And they had to survive.
And they had
more
to
importantly,
survive.
they had to survive.
Oh, they were, our ancestors were remarkable people.
I can see it all over your
Remarkable
face.
people.
I think my 20 minutes are about up because you've been here 2 days. How long have you been here now?
I came here, I started interviewing for this at the airport Monday.
Monday.
And I left from DC in the security check-in line. My phone was ringing. So this has been my third day of interviews. And I have to tell you, it's been wonderful. I love Dallas. What a great town.
Dallas is the center of the universe.
Well, I won't say that. I'm a DC girl, so I'm not going to say that.
I need to
But this
tell
is a
you-
great town, and I've totally enjoyed it. And
I need to
thank
tell
for
you where the
this.
exhibit has been.
Yes.
The previous exhibits were the Smithsonian National Museum of American History, that's in Washington, D.C., all the way back to 2012.
2012.
And then the Atlanta History Center in Atlanta, of course, the Missouri History Museum in St. Louis,
Yes.
and the National Constitution Center in Philadelphia, now Dallas, Texas, across the South. We're going to make this your very best visit, your very best exhibit.
Thank you.
We have been able to do
And we
that.
should note that it starts September 22nd.
Yes.
Closes December 31st. Monticello in Dallas.com, I believe, is.
We're putting up on the, we
Okay,
will put it
good,
up on the screen
good.
for you to see. We don't want anyone in the Dallas region, Dallas-Fort Worth region to miss it.
No, we don't. We really don't.
What is the best thing you've heard? I have two questions, two final questions. What's the best thing you've heard about the tours and the worst? Let's start with the worst.
I haven't heard any bad things, so I can't mention that. The best thing, just in brief, is people being grateful.
Yes.
Grateful to learn the history.
Yes.
Yeah.
We are most grateful.
Yes.
Delightful
Thank
to have you here.
Take
Thank you.
care.
Thank you
Yes.
for coming.
My pleasure.
I'll be right back with Ms. Sharon Middlebrooks, who has a closing point for us. I contacted some of the leaders in this city, contacted leaders in leadership positions. Dallas is full of national presidents and international presidents. Thank you for this segment of Esther Davis. And as always, you really are the greatest audience in the world. I'll be right back with Sharon Middlebrooks. One of the most important portions of our show is after the show. What people do after the show is talk about, oh, what did you think? And I remember she said this, and did you remember that she said this? Then you have some people that will go a bit further. They get on the internet and they look up additional information. So this is after the show with Lady Mache, is Cheryl Middlebrooks, who is president, a national president of the Women's Council. And she's here to give us after the show and her thoughts. What do you think?
Oh, it was great, and thank you. Thank you for the invitation. I was truly impressed with Miss Jessup White and the information in which she brought. But more importantly, what stood out in everything that she had to say was the fact that the slaves lost wealth. We as a people
Yes,
lost wealth. And that really ties into the National Association of Real Estate Brokers, as well as the Women's Council of the National Association of Real Estate Brokers, as we go across the country trying to assist and assisting African American Black homeowners to become homeowners and or to retain their homes. So it was a pivotal point that she spoke on in terms of wealth, because how do we build wealth?
Homeownership is one way.
Exactly.
And you guys have an initiative going on right now, don't you?
That is correct. 2 million in 5 years. We are striving to make
homeowners.
Homeowners throughout this country. And in fact, our parent company, the National Association of Real Estate Brokers, they are having open houses around the country this weekend under the leadership of our president, Mr. Jeffrey Hicks. So there are 91 chapters, I do believe.
91 chapters across the United States?
Across the United States.
You're a busy lady.
Well, I am the affiliate president.
Okay.
That falls on our president, Mr. Jeffrey Hicks' shoulders. But I am one of the affiliate presidents for the Women's Council of the National Association of Real Estate Brokers.
What a fine way to end this session of slavery at Monticello. We want you to come see the exhibit. We're going to leave you with that one point. But the second point is building wealth in the African American community. Lady Mache, Madam Sharon Middlebrooks, I thank you for your time.
Thank you.
We'll see you next time.